Parmigiano Reggiano. Okay, that is the first and last time that I'm gonna use that proper name for it. From here on out, it's just gonna be Parmesan, because let's face it, my pronunciation is terrible. But you know what? I actually am in Boston. Maybe I should just call it Parm. Hey kid, pass the Parm. There are loads of deeply aged, flavorful, grateable cheeses out there, but there's really good reason that Parmesan is considered the king of them all. The genuine article has been produced for over 800 years in one government-designated area of northern Italy from partly skimmed cow's milk. Once the curds have been formed and pressed into shape, the cheese is submerged in a saltwater brine for a few days before aging. By Italian law, it must be aged for at least 12 months, but that's just the beginning. Some are aged for as much as 24, 48, and 72 months, but that's just the middle. Some are aged for as long as 96 and even 120 months. By my calculations, that's 10 years. I've never had Parmesan that's been aged for 10 years, but here's one description I read about it. And I quote, "The longest aging period gives birth to a challenging cheese that must be understood and studied with humility, giving time to the product and for the senses to adapt." Whoa. Like any quality handmade food product, when it comes to making Parmesan, everything matters. Quality of the milk, the type of rennet used, the bacteria present in the environment, and the skill and attention of the cheesemaker. But the factor that arguably has the biggest impact on flavor and texture is aging. Just like with people, cheese aging involves lots of small, slow changes that, taken as a whole, have a big impact. One of those changes is moisture loss. Parmesan loses water as it ages, which increases the concentration of everything else in the mix. So that's fat, protein, flavor compounds, salt, you name it. Other changes happen thanks to the busy work of enzymes. Enzymes break down proteins into peptides and amino acids, creating savory, intense flavor. That's called proteolysis. They also break down fat into free fatty acids, which go on to contribute sharp, acidic, fruity flavors. These flavor changes are accompanied by changes in texture as well. The protein network that forms during the process of making the curds starts out really flexible, and it remains that way in young cheeses. That's why something like a really young cheddar melts beautifully. But that protein network tightens and gets more interconnected as cheese ages, turning once melty young cheddar into aged cheddar that just kind of melts into fat clumps of protein. Okay, so now that we understand a little bit more about what it takes to make real deal Parmesan, I think it's time to head to the kitchen and check it out. The best stuff comes pre-grated in this beautiful canister, and you can shake it out like pure snow onto the frozen tundra that is your food. What am I saying right now? Real Parmesan isn't just big and bold when you put it in your mouth. It's also big and bold when you buy it. This is a quarter wheel of real Parmesan cheese. A whole wheel weighs 84 pounds. I've met black labs and 10-year-old kids that weigh less than that. And I mean, dogs and kids are great, but when does either of them really improve the flavor of your pasta dish? Don't answer that. What I really want to show you is that this massive size actually has some pretty big implications. Check out this experiment. I took samples of cheese from the very center of the wheel, from another location 1 inch in from the side and bottom rind, and another location right between those two. I then asked my teammates on Cooks Illustrated to taste all of the samples blind and talk about their flavor and texture and rank them based on preference. And here are the crazy results. The sample taken closest to the rind ranked unanimously first. It was described as nutty, complex, and pleasantly crumbly. The sample of cheese taken from the center of the wheel ranked at the bottom. It was described as smooth, mild tasting, and even plasticky in texture. The middle sample ranked, well, right in the middle. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Where do I sign up to put on a blindfold and eat Parmesan cheese all day? And probably also, what does this mean? It means that cheese ages in a similar fashion to how a roast heats up in the oven, faster towards the exterior and slower in the middle. And with a Parmesan-sized wheel, the difference between the inner portions and the outer portions can be dramatically different. Need more proof? Well, let's talk about crunch. You know what I'm talking about. When you buy a nice piece of aged Parmesan cheese and you bite into it and find wonderful little crunchy crystals throughout, I love those. Who doesn't love those? It's like the cheese equivalent of having little bits of toffee in your chocolate bar. Those crystals are aggregates of the amino acid tyrosine. It's not very soluble, so as water is removed from the cheese during aging, it comes out of solution and forms nice, crunchy little clumps. These crystals are a clear sign of advanced age in cheese. Check out this experiment. I used a peeler to shave samples from the the edge and center locations and then manually counted the number of crystals in each. Yes, I am a nerd. But good thing that I am, because now we all know that the cheese next to the rind averaged 20 crystals per 10 grams, whereas the stuff from the center averaged just 9 crystals per 10 grams. That's twice as many cheese crystals. All of this cheesy fun comes down to the final point that real Parmesan isn't just one cheese. Depending on the piece that you buy and where it was cut from, it can vary quite a bit. If you want the crumbliest, crunchiest, most flavorful Parmesan, you want the stuff that's near the rind. If you go for a corner piece like this that has rind on both sides, you're gonna get it. You are, of course, paying for rind at the price of edible cheese, so there's some pretty heavy personal math that you have to do here. But then again, the rind is highly usable. You can pitch into a pot of soup or beans and let cheesy, umami, delicious flavor infuse into everything as it cooks. Or you can turn the rind into the world's greatest cheese cracker using just your microwave. Once you grate it all the way down to the rind, just slice it into thin strips, put it on a piece of parchment, and then microwave it for about a minute until it puffs. They will turn nice and crispy as they cool. How is this black magic possible? Well, the small amount of water that's left in the rind heats up in the microwave, turns to steam, and explosively expands, leaving a hard, cheesy protein network in its wake. We've basically made cheese pork rinds, or I guess cheese rinds. I know I don't need to tell you to grate Parmesan on anything that you want a big boost of awesome flavor. To me, it's not really about whether or not you're adding Parmesan, because you are. It's how you break it down for the desired effect. A rasped grater is ideal when we want even distribution, like we're adding it to a pot of meat sauce or on top of a plate of pasta. A vegetable peeler makes beautiful strips that have way more presence on top of something like grilled vegetables or a beautiful green salad. And big shreds off the box grater are perfect for creating a bold crust on foods like these incredibly cheesy, crunchy, savory, juicy chicken cutlets. Oh man, this all looks so good. I guess in the end, all of this is how to eat Parmesan. Have you ever tried 10-year-old Parmesan cheese? Or have you seen an 84-pound black lab? It doesn't matter. Most importantly, have you subscribed yet? If not, do it now, and you'll never miss an episode. Hey kid, pass the Parm. I cannot believe I caught that. You threw that directly into my hand.